Chapter 325, Duanmu Family. This chapter is updated by novels.pl. The warship was 333 meters long and made of dark steel. Its power was provided by spiritual crystals. It was larger than the black market's red spider vessel. Hundreds of warriors stood on the warship, wearing martial robes embroidered with the characters Duanmu. Obviously, all of them were masters of martial arts, because they were full of energy and looking ahead with wisdom. Were all of them followers of the Duanmu family? Seeing the warship, Zhang Yuochen was doubtful. The forces of the Duanmu family was not in Omen Ridge. How could they call so many masters together to the Death Reach in such a short time? Even for the top local sects like the Yuntai Suzerain and Tai King Palace, it was very hard to do in such a short time. At the moment, warriors were carrying the comatose Seek Sinkong and Chang Kiki up to the warship under the order of the leader of Duanmu family. Zhang Yuochen and Huang Yanjin boarded the warship and found a quiet spot. When there was no one around, Zhang Yuochen asked with sound wave, "Senior Sister Apprentice Huang, how did you find Senior Sister Apprentice Duanmu's aunt after leaving the Death City?" Huang Yanqian stared at Zhang Yuochen with doubt in her eyes. She had no idea about why he was transmitting sound instead of talking. "The five of us ran away in two groups after we left the Death City. Seek Sinkong and Chang Kiki were in one group, Chen Xia and I were in the other group. On the way, I met Miss Qin, and she saved us." "What's the matter? Are you suspicious of Xingling?" "I was just asking." Zhang Yuochen replied as if absorbed in thought. Huang Yanjian said, "Xingling was sent to the school of the martial market by a half-saint from the Duanmu family. If she was suspicious, the high level from the school of the martial market would certainly know it." "Maybe," Zhang Yuochen said. On the warship, there was accompanied by physicians who were said to be medical masters of the Duanmu family. Under the treatment of a medical master, Chang Kiki and Seek Sinkong had half recovered from their injuries and woken up from their comas. In the cabin, Chang Kiki wore a sad look as if his wife had died. He said, "Although we got away successfully, we lost Gyogo. We don't know if he is alive or not." The rabbit ate a lot, but it was very intelligent and adorable. Chang Kiki was really sad. With a bursting voice, Zhang Yuochen walked in and said with a smile, "Who said that Gyogo is lost?" The crimson rabbit walked in stealthily behind Zhang Yuochen. It was gnawing away at a spiritual brawn in its hands. It raised its head, looked at Chang Kiki and blinked. Since it had taken two black wind python spiritual brawns, its cultivation had improved considerably. Zhang Yuochen had just given it another spiritual brawn. It no longer froze from the icing air in spiritual brawn, but ate with great enjoyment. Gyogo, seeing the rabbit, Chang Kiki immediately brought Gyogo down like a fierce tiger springing on its prey and caressed its hair. He laughed and said, "Junior fellow apprentice Zhang, how come it was with you?" Before, Gyogo had been staying inside the time and space spinal. Zhang Yuochen had not let it out until they were on the Duanmu family warship and safe for the time being. Zhang Yuochen did not want to reveal the secret of time and space spinal. He said, "You can ask it." "Ask it? It can't speak," Chang Kiki said. Zhang Yuochen smiled and said, "Gyogo is very smart. If you taught him more, he would be able to learn to speak." Zhang Yuochen did not want Chang Kiki to ask further questions, so he quickly changed the subject. He said, "I got a special type of spiritual dose for cultivation improvement in the Death Reach. I want to give it to you." Seek Sinkong and Chang Kiki already knew that Zhang Yuochen had the spatial ring, so he had nothing to hide. He took two petals of the Nirvana Fire Spirit flower out from the spatial ring and gave them to his friends. Seek Sinkong was experienced and knowledgeable. After taking a deep sniff, he said with surprise, "These are petals of Nirvana Fire Spirit flower, and they are at least 1,000 years old. Such a treasure is rare in Omen Ridge." "Junior fellow apprentice Zhang, you are really so lucky to find such a treasure." 1,000-year-old spiritual dose. Chang Kiki opened his mouth wide out of surprise. He was very excited. In Omen Ridge, if a 1,000-year-old spiritual dose was found, the top influential forces such as the School of the Martial Market, Yuntai Suzerain and Tai King Palace, would try desperately to get it. It seemed so unbelievable that Zhang Yuochen had gotten a spiritual dose of this level just walking around the Death Reach. Wasn't it a great destiny? Chankiki said, if I refine this petal, my cultivation will immediately break through the level of the heaven realm. Definitely. Singkong thought a while and put away the spirit flower petal, saying, I think we can refine the spirit flower petal into liquid and carry it. It will be better to break through the level of the heaven realm once we enter the underwater dragon palace. Zhang Yuochen nodded and said, yes. Having a cultivation under the level of the heaven realm is essential for people entering into the underwater dragon palace. However, warriors can make a breakthrough after they enter. Chankiki also nodded. If the level of the heaven realm could be broken through, he would advance rapidly and become a real martial arts legend. If warriors of the black market dared to chase after him, he could slap them to death. In Omen Ridge, there were loads of warriors at the earth realm, but very few warriors had reached the heaven realm. All of them were dominators and masters of martial arts with extremely high status. The heaven realm was highly desirable. Subsequently, Zhang Yuochen took out another 3 petals and gave them to Huang Yanzhen, Duanmu Xingling, and Qinya. After all, it was Qinya who had defeated the Red Wish emissary. It was because of her help that the 3, including Zhang Yuochen, had been able to escape so easily. Therefore, it was necessary to repay her kindness. Receiving a petal of Nirvana Fire Spirit Flower, Qinya squinted her eyes and put it away. She said, Zhang Yuochen, Duanmu Xingling told me that you plan to enter the underwater dragon palace and compete with black market warriors for the Dragon Star era. How sure are you that you can succeed? Zhang Yuochen said, not sure. Qinya laughed and said, well, the Duanmu family can help you do it. Oh? Zhang Yuochen said. Qinya continued, more than 1,000 martial masters at the completion of the Earth realm have gathered in the black market. DE will definitely give them panacea to help them break through. Once they enter the underwater dragon palace, at least dozens of them will be able to break through to the heaven realm. This is a very frightening power. Although you have deep cultivation, it is not certain that you can resist their combined attack. The Duanmu family has brought a total of 280 warriors at the completion of the Earth realm. This was all we could gather together in such a short time. Although we have less people than the black market, they are very loyal. When necessary, they can sacrifice their own lives to open a way for you and Xingling. Zhang Yuochen smiled and said, are they really warriors of the Duanmu family? Of course. Qinya remained calm and smiled. Okay. It will be a great help to have Duanmu family warriors. Zhang Yuochen said. After Zhang Yuochen left, Duanmu Xingling walked out, close to Qinya. She said, Aunt, you are using him. Qinya said, do you think he doesn't know? He has his doubts. I am indeed taking advantage of him, but he is also using us to deal with warriors of the black market. Does he know? Duanmu Xingling frowned and felt a little fearful for no real reason. She was very worried that she and Zhang Yuochen would become opponents in the future due to her deceit. Qinya said seriously, Xingling, you are the saintness of demonic sect. You need to learn to hide your emotions. Otherwise, you will suffer a fatal disaster, especially if you continue to lurk in the school of the martial market. You must tell yourself at every moment that you and Zhang Yuochen are enemies. Or else, you will surely die if you fight to the death in the future. Probably. Duanmu Xingling replied. Qinya shook her head slightly and heaved a sigh. She knew that Duanmu Xingling wasn't going to listen to her. When the warship reached the center of the Death Reach, a strong blood smell arose. Bones of the dead and skeletons of savage beasts floated on the water. The Black River had become blood red. The remains of damaged warships, masts, canvases, boards, and so on were floating in the water. Zhang Yuochen could see that at least 2 red spider vessels were damaged and hundreds of warriors at the completion of the Earth realm had died in the water, with incomplete skeletons. The 3-clawed flood dragon really is the dominator of the Death Reach. It caused severe damage to the black market. It seemed to be the right step to inform it by sending the Silverlight Shark. Zhang Yuochen thought to himself. When it came to the Silverlight Shark, Zhang Yuochen discovered that its martial soul inside the yin-yang wooden graph had disappeared, signifying that it had died. The Silverlight Shark had been severely injured, and its martial soul had been left with Zhang Ruojin, so its strength was largely weakened. If Jin Kun had discovered the Silverlight Shark's weak points, it would most certainly not have been able to escape. Jin Kun would have killed it. Even though the Silverlight Shark had died, it had little influence on Zhang Yuochen. Although the shark was very strong, once he broke through the level of the heaven realm, its role was minimal. At present, he was not far from reaching the heaven realm. How terrible it is. So many top masters have died. Massive changes are happening in the martial world of Oman Ridge. Seek Sinkong said. Everyone was stunned by this scene. It saves us a lot of trouble. The black market cleaned out the savage beasts. Kinya gave an order. The warship initiated vessel defending formation. Many halos appeared, forming a white light screen that enveloped the warship tightly. The warship sank down and finally went to the very bottom of the water. It moved continuously toward Underwater Dragon Palace. It got closer and closer to the palace. The shadow of the red spider vessel in front could be seen faintly.